Welcome to a very exciting edition of Purple Rain. It's our first ever report card show. We're so excited. So, this is technically going to be the last episode for season 2. Yeah. But it's also being recorded as a video episode because we want to publish it on YouTube as well. Yeah. So, yeah. Now, Lady, you had this idea. Yeah, it's sort of a way to try. Now we've got names and now we've got brands, identities. I want to give it a little go, do a report card thing. Especially how we're going to up our coverage next year, going to year 3. It would be a good idea for us to try and test it out, because it'll be out. Yeah, because I think it could be a traditional TV thing at the end of the season, but we're going to give it a go. We're going to go. See, it's going to feel a bit like back to school and the report card days. Why you never had bad school report cards in your life? What are you trembling for? Well, that's because I was a model student. I kept out of trouble. You know, but that's maybe because we didn't have a bike shed. Are you not? No, our high school did not have a bike shed. There is a bike gate where you walk near to my school. There are 2 bike gates, and the kids used to smoke around it, and I always smelt it every time I was walking to and back from school. So sadly we didn't. No, sadly our school did not have an on-site bike shed. Could you imagine if you had a bike shed? Oh, that probably would be the time I got into trouble. I had a really boring my high school was rough. It was no clubs, no bike shed. It was all work, no play. So I was basically doing my schoolwork. Would you believe I've gone to the bike shed? Yeah, someone offered me to go to the bike shed. Wanna go to the bike shed? Oh God! It's better than having to study on the internet. But that's true. That's true. But yeah. So right. I don't know. You guys thinking about bike sheds now? Stop it! Right. Here's what we're going to do. So we're going to go through each team. We're going to tell you how they did in the regular season. Then we're going to give you our thoughts of how we think they did throughout the season. And we're going to do it in reverse order of the regular season standings. Yeah, so let's go for the team in 6th and 5th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 3rd, 4th. Yeah. Yeah. So it's really exciting. Do we want team logos on? Yeah, just logos. Because I did try to do word marks for one of our expansion shows, it just didn't work. So logos, we'll put the team logos on the screen as well. Probably might be the left-hand corner because you guys are on the right-hand corner. So yeah, so I don't mind. I'll be on me. Don't mind on you. Yeah. So we're excited. So let's go and take a quick. So let's remember what's break time called in the US? Recess. Oh. Well, a quick recess. So we're just going to go around a quick bike shed. No, I'm not! Let's take a quick recess and then we'll get started. So let's start with the team in 6th place, which once again is the New York Sirens. I know. Now, it's interesting because obviously, you know, going into this season, in fact, we got to the end of last year, the broadcasters, even us, were saying, you know, if there were 5 or 6 more games last year, then the Sirens could have been a playoff team. They found their stride towards the end of last season. They were causing problems for teams in playoff positions, including us. So, yeah, if there were like 5 or 6 more games last year, the Sirens would have been a playoff team. Now look, we got those 5 or 6 extra games this year, but still nowhere near. No. In fact, let's break it down. So if we look at the Sirens' record across their 30 games, they're a record of 8, 4, 5, and 13, points. That's a total of 37 points. Points percentage of 0.411. Scored 71 goals, but conceded 80. And that's the most in the PWHL. Interestingly, one other team has got the same goal differential as New York. I'm going to keep you guessing who that is. Now, if we look at the Sirens draft class from 2024, you look at that draft class, you think, wow, this is a team that is going to be scary in the future. Yeah. I mean, obviously they won the goal plan. They got the first overall pick. They drafted Sophmore, who of course we knew was going to go first overall last year. It was like with 2023. It was never fairly obvious who's going to go first overall. Yeah. Yeah. You look at that draft class thing. Okay, they've made inroads, but I don't know if they're going to be able to turn a corner immediately this time next year. I don't know for certain. Okay, no photos. But they had a really great start. I mean, I think they went like 2-1 or something like that, or maybe like 1-1-1. Yeah, because obviously you break the overtime wins and regulation wins apart. Yeah, in terms of records. Yeah, so yeah, they won their kind of first 2 games. Yeah, and they were getting points in a lot of them. Yeah, they were far away to get points. Yeah, the Sirens did in that first half. Would it be fair to say injuries play them? Yeah. How many games was it they had that losing streak? Was it like 9? 8? Yeah, it was. Was it 9? It was 9. Yeah. So, you come out of the rivalry series, they had injuries played them, and that pretty much ended their playoff hopes. Yeah, I mean, this team, when they were healthy, was scary good. Yeah. Oh yeah, they were scary good. Particularly with playing from behind. Now, I know we're probably going to talk about how we love to play with our backs against the walls later on. But the Sirens this year, they just love playing from behind. Yeah. Oh yeah, because no matter how big of a gap they were down, they didn't panic. They just took their shot like, okay, well, let's go for it. And multiple times like this season, we know, they were able to overturn multi-goal deficits. Like, 2 of our games, they had to come from behind multi-goal deficits. Like, what was it in our first meeting, it was a 2-goal deficit, and then the second meeting was a 3-goal deficit. Yeah. And then the infamous one that got Tessa and Julia from Jocks and Jill's band from Ottawa. If that didn't happen, we might not be in the playoffs, because if Ottawa got that regulation win, that might have sealed the deal. Yeah, it might have been Boston who got that 4th slot. Yeah. But that's just so nice. They were 3-0 down in Ottawa. Then the third period, they scored 6 unanswered goals. They get 3 points for the regulation win, and Tess and Julie get banned. That was crazy. Yeah. So that's just how was my point. How, okay, the Sirens, yeah, they were struggling, you know, trying to find a way to get the wins, but they loved playing from behind. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the mentality again going this time next year. Yeah, especially because we've got 2 UTs during next year who could be for quite a bumpy ride when they go to Newark. Could be for quite a bumpy ride. Yeah. I think that might also be a concern here. I mean, there's Corrine Schroeder, who is actually is quite a good netminder. I mean, she did get some shots. Against us with one of them. Yeah, so she can shut out teams. It's just, I do wonder sometimes if your offense is enough to backbone the netminding. Well, given how obviously Corrine Schroeder is now no longer on the Sirens roster. She's now with Seattle. And then they got, what was it, Kay Osborne? I think she's the one that's going to have to start, because they did draft a netminder in the draft. But I don't think that's going to be ready to go. I think it'll be Kay Osborne who will probably be the starting netminder for quite a lot of the games to begin the season. And then they might look at switching it off during the second half, depending on where they are in the second half. Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you. The netminder also is a bit of an issue, which could maybe argue why. Because they gave up 80 goals this season. That is the most in the PWHL. And yeah, you look at the win-loss margins. So they had what, 13 regulation losses? Yeah. I mean, is that more than last year? I don't know. You have to double check. So in total, they lost 18 games. So you combine the OT losses along with the regulation, that's 18 games they've lost. That stacks up. Yeah. That literally stacks up. Yeah. When you look at it in the bigger picture, that literally stacks up. Yeah. Also, special teams, I think, something they really need to talk about as well. I'm not sure what they've done on special teams. But, well, we got a pound to go in World Bar games against them. We did. It was on the takeover tour. Made some win come. That was their first goal back from injury. It was. Yeah, it was. But right. How do we really rate the size season this year? Because it feels like. Well, it's tricky because the start of the year, it kind of felt like they were going to turn a corner, and they and Ottawa were going to knock out Toronto and Boston and get in. No. You know, because at one point it was Ottawa and New York who were jostling between third and fourth, and us and the Big 12 jostling between first and second. But to start the year, they did actually spend a few weeks in the top spot. They did. Yeah. But could you argue, that's because obviously they drafted Sarah Faye, and obviously they also got Alex Carpenter from Latvia, Selcher, Lane out, and see now dealing with those two. But the wheels sort of then fell off once they went through that injury period. Yeah. The wheels then sort of fell off. And you do have to wonder if this team could stay healthy. Yeah, I feel like the size of one of those teams where, as long as they are healthy, they could do a lot of damage. Yeah. They could do a lot of damage. Yeah. So I think that's the keep an eye on going into next year, is how healthy this team stays. Could depend on whether or not they, because obviously going to year 3, they're going to be the only Inaugural Six team who has not made the playoffs. They're going to want to get that monkey off their back sooner rather than later. Yeah. And of course, if everyone's thinking Seattle and Vancouver are going to be the big hungry machines that they are going to be, then that's going to put more pressure on York's backs. Yeah. I don't think Vancouver and Seattle are going to be the big ugly monsters everyone fears they're going to be and just wipe us all out. I don't think that. Yeah. But you do have to take that into consideration. Yeah. But we're looking for this season to sort of finish it off. Yeah. They made progress, but unfortunately it just was not enough progress. But they're definitely on the right path, so I don't see them need to be on a rebuild mode just yet. If they spend another year like they have done the last years, then you might start asking questions. Well, if was a goal plan 2 years in a row now, surely that's got to count for something. It should. And the Sirens draft class this year is just crazy. How many picks did they get to make in the end? I think they made about 9. 9 picks! Well, they did a lot of trading. I know they did. But yeah, so I think they made about 9, which is the most in any team this year. That's crazy. But it would be football. Yeah, I think for me, I agree with Lakey. The Sirens made good progress this year. It's just the injuries. They stacked up. And of course, we've all known it. We see it with obviously us to the Kings, you with the Sharks, and the Barracuda. When injuries stack up, nothing you do. Especially if it comes during playoff time. You just have to just write with it. There's nothing you can do. You've got to just write it out. Yeah, there's nothing you can do. Yeah. So definitely it's a year where we see improvements, but not just not enough. Yeah, okay. So I say they're making progress, just not quite there just yet. Yeah, okay. Okay, so next up, it is the team that finished in 5th place in standings. We're doing this by reverse order of the standings, by the way, just in case you haven't really noticed that. And just in case I forgot to mention in the intro. So, the Boston Fleet finished in 5th place this year. Oh, I know. Tough for them. I know, we'll get another. Did we do the record? So, over their 30 games, the Boston Fleet had a record of 9, 6, 5, and 10 for a total of 44 points. A point percentage of 0.489. Scored 75 goals, conceded 76. I know, that's a tough pill to swallow, Boston. I mean, You just have to feel for them, you know what I mean? Because Boston had a tough year. I mean, you go from being World Cup finalists in year 1 to being outside the playoff picture in year 2. And by the narrowest of margins, it was on the tiebreaker. It was on the tiebreaker. You know, if they had one more regulation win over us, then it would have got him. It would have got him. Would have got him. Yeah, I mean, we remember obviously we watched their last game, so it was against us. We all three of us were kind of like, oh, we just kind of felt for them. Yeah, because obviously we knew expansion, by that point expansion was coming. It's going to be the last time a lot of these players are together. And also it's how we didn't know that Courtney Castle was going to leave either. No! We didn't! No! That's a big blow. They're going to miss her. They're going to miss her. They're going to miss her. Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, it's kind of problem. I mean, and I think, would that start be the reason why they faltered? I think it would. Because what was interesting going into year 2 was would us and Boston struggle out the gates early due to having done the World Cup finals? I always look for cup fatigue in the NHL. But I don't really know, you know, is on the PWHL this year? No, I don't really know that. But yeah, but Boston and Toronto both, we'll come on to Toronto later on, but they both struggled out the gate. How I feel the difference between Boston and Toronto here, and I'm sure later we'll focus it more when we get to Toronto. Yeah, I did, yeah. The Fleet found ways to get points in their games, especially when we turn into the second portion of the calendar. Well, yeah, because when we got to 2025, there were the first few weeks they were finding ways to get points, especially against us. Like our first game 2025 was against them. We had what was it, like a 2-goal lead, closing out the third. They found a way to take it overtime and got a point. So yeah, I agree with you guys there. Boston did very, very good at finding ways to get points. Because ideally in this league, all you want to do is make sure you don't lose the regulation. Exactly. I mean, I'm happy at the stage of the season to take a regulation, my preference is regulation, or star game. My preference is a regulation win, but in the early parts of the season, I don't mind taking those overtime or shootout losses because I know I've got something rather than nothing, and that can make a difference when we get to the end of the year and who gets in or not. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so they might have find ways to get points, especially against teams like us, Montreal. That was a bit of the take on tour in South exactly. Yeah, so the Fleet found ways to get points. Plus, then Anne Frank was back in there, and of course, she's not called the Green Monster for nothing. She kept facing so many shots this year. It's like, oh my god. Well, I know. Whenever I look at Boston's game sheet, I always think it's a bit bizarre if Anne Frank had 25 or less. Because with what she faced, it is crazy how many shots she faced on a regular night. It is absolutely crazy. Yeah, and also, Courtney Castle behind the bench again, and she did so well in that first year with Boston. Was a nominee for rookie. Why am I so tongue-tied? British summer. We're on the heat. It is end of year, folks, so we are technically recording this in the summer holidays. So, yeah. But no, Courtney Castle was a nominee for Coach of the Year in year 1. I thought she should have got it, but of course, we don't take past into account. We learned that the hard way. And I don't think Boston did too badly this year. No, I don't think they did too badly. It's just that, as we were talking about the player there at the start, that first start is probably what did him in the end. Yeah, because if some of those early losses in regulation had been converted into wins, then it would have changed absolutely everything. What I also found really, really interesting this year was how all our games against them, apart from one, which was the last of the season, I thought were really close. Yeah, I mean, because obviously going into year 2, the matchups we were looking forward to the most were, and this is no offense to the other teams, by the way, no offense, but we were looking forward most to the Boston Fleet matchups, because obviously everybody loves to watch a rematch. Oh yeah. And the difference between the PHL and the AHL, in the PHL, you get to have more of those! Yeah! In the AHL, you only get it twice. In the PHL, you get it multiple times. So, woo! Yeah, we were looking forward to those. Yeah. And every single one apart from the last match of the season was close. So, but if some of the here and there tweaks that made it down those games, then Boston could have got wins over us, and it might be a very different story. But yes, agreed. Yeah. And also, I feel like Boston relied too much on him. Oh, here we go. Don't you dare. She's gonna dare. I felt they relied too much on Harry Knight and Tapani. Now, Tapani stayed. Yes. Yes. Like, so much to keep track of. Yeah, no, Tapani stayed. They managed to restart Tapani. Knight, of course, well, you don't need to realize what happened there. No. But I thought they relied on those too much because a lot of the games against us, Tapani and Knight were the two main factors why they got goals. Yeah. I think they relied on them too much. So, the depth also kind of let Boston down here. Yeah, but could maybe drafting Hedy Wynn and Abby Newark, because that might have been a huge boost in going into year 3, because you think those are two good moves for Boston. Well, we knew Hedy Wynn was going to go second. Right, we knew Hedy Wynn was a lock to go to Boston, but I had no clue who Abby Newark was going. I can't believe she got taken so late in the draft. Because in the PWHL season, we were highlighting potential draftees. She was one of them who the PWHL saw could go in the first round. So I was quite surprised she did go in the first round. And I was getting there and thought, well, who's she going to go to? It's certainly not going to be yours. We can't afford her. Yeah. So, yeah, but I think those are two good moves the Boston made in the draft. And I think they're going to really help them going forward next year. Now, given Boston's situation with Chelsea coaching, that might be a bit of trouble, but at least you've got two good new firepower coming in to your team that will help you out. Could maybe candidates rookie of the year next year, who knows? But well, you're making that case quite bold. I know, but I just think they're going to be those two are going to be really. I mean, we can talk about New York's draft class, but I think don't sleep on Wynn and Newark. That's what I'm going to say for going to year 3. So basically how we say it, could they bring in the depth that Boston needs next year? They could do, but we'll have to wait and see. But I just felt for this year, they relied too much on Tapani, they relied too much on Knight. They did not have that depth scoring. And of course, let's say that they also lost Hannah Belker as well to Seattle. So she's also gone. So, Boston lacked depth this year, which also let them down. And they're going to need to find depth this year. Can I also say another thing that let them down? Is it going to be about net money? I had the exact same thought, but I'll let you take it. Okay. They have a great starter at Aaron Frankel, but they also need to have a good backup. And I'm not sure they got that. Well, Emma Söderberg has officially now gone back to Sweden. She has. Oh, it's now happened. She has now officially gone back to Sweden. So, and I do recall Boston did draft a netminder in the draft. They did. You two were kind of shocked by that. But actually, given how, if Emma Söderberg goes back to Sweden, it kind of makes sense. Because, yeah, you're right, but Boston's not really got a stable backup. Which probably let them down in that last game against us. Because they didn't play Aaron Frankel in that last game against us. They could have done. For the full game. She started. Hold on. She started the first period, but she didn't play the full game. She got taken out halfway through. She got taken out after the first period. Now I don't think that was wise because obviously she took my injury. Why are you making her go in when this is a must-win game for you guys as it is for us? Yeah. Put maybe Sobo in and see where it goes from there. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Boston's not really got a reliable backup, so it'll be interesting to see what that development's going into year 3. Yeah. But for the 3, it's so heartbreaking because they had the pieces there. Yeah, the pieces were there. A lot, like I said, a lot of their core from the last year got to the finals with them, and it just didn't work. It just didn't work. But now it's the margins. You do have to kind of feel for them because I feel like Boston's gone through the most this off-season already. Yeah, they've already gone through so much, and yet there's still a lot more off-season to go. Yeah, you have to feel for them, unfortunately, but them the breaks indeed. Alright, so we're now going to move on to our Minnesota Frost. For the second year in a row, right, finished 4th in the regular season standings, and yet still somehow managed to win the Bottle Cup. Yeah, and again had a strong first half of the season, then followed the second half. I know we'll get to the records first, but we go straight. So across their regular season, their 30 regular season games, I should say, the Frost had a record of 10, 5, 4, 11 for a total of 44 points. That's a point percentage of 0.489. Scored 85 goals, conceded 76 goals. Now, those goals scored, that is the most in the PWHL this season. Not even Montreal, our league champions, got higher than that. So, not so bad. But yeah, so, do you want to take the first goal? I mean, I don't... But it's interesting though. I mean, players talked with the Sirens at the start of the show how they love to play from behind this year. The Frost, however, which is not just this season, it's also last year as well, they just love to seem to play with their backs against the walls. Now, if you're a casual viewer, or if you don't support the Frost, that's great hockey to watch. But us three, not so much. This is why I'm looking forward to upping our coverage next season, where we'll also be watching other teams' games. I mean, we tried it in the last Mother season, and you didn't have that much stress as normal. Nah, the stress wasn't as much there as it has been watching the Frost. But I'd say, yeah. Was it the Rugby series again that did us? Oh, that bloody Rugby series. Because you go and I'll cover the Rugby series. Okay. Because for the first portion of the season, we did really, really well. I mean, a lot of people argue, oh, is there going to be any Ross team? I mean, plays in the World Cup playoffs. And got away to the finals last year, both their class series. Had to go best of 5. Yep. Yeah, but yeah, we carried against Britain. I mean, Grace Sophmore scored what was the second fastest goal of the PWHL this season. Was it the second fastest? Yeah, because in the last day of the season in New York, Marie Fleetland scored 10 seconds into the contest. Oh, okay. How quick was Grace Sophmore then? 19 seconds. Okay. That showed how quick. So that showed how this Frost team was going to be very competitive. Still, and a lot of our core for that championship Frost in 24 was still there. We made a couple of adjustments in the draft, as obviously you would expect to do. But we had a pretty strong roster that looked like it was going to try to get. And we did very well at scoring 3 or more goals per contest. Yeah, it was very rare that you saw the Frost offense get sort of shut down. Yeah. 1 or 2 times. I mean, New York did it. Yeah. A few times. New York did it. I mean, they got a shutout against us in 1, and in the technical game Detroit, they narrowed us down to just 1 goal. That was based on wrinkles on the power play. Yep. Was that our first goal back from injury? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So yeah, but as I mentioned, the Frost did very well in scoring this year. You saw that with 85 goals. It was very, very rare they scored 2 or fewer. They were always getting at least 3 per contest. So the offense was there. But as I said, it's coming out of the rubbish again. And we had a terrible February. Well, we only got points in 2 games. In February, only won 1. And that was in your lightest of factors. It was in Montreal. It was our first win ever in Montreal. The only time we beat the Big 12 last season was in Minnesota. So it was our first ever win in Montreal. And I remember coming out of February saying, we've got to have a similar march to what we had last year. Yeah. And was it better? Well, we got more points. Yeah. We came with more points. But to be going to that World Championship break on the outside of the playoff picture, only by 1 point though. Yeah, but that was not good. Only by 1 point. Well, can I ask you about that? Because obviously, me and Lady had the World Championships. You didn't. What was that like for you? Be the outskirts of the playoffs. Well, I think because the World Championships here was in Europe, was in Czechia, it was easy for you to follow. I didn't really felt it, because I kept an eye on what you two were following with the World Championships. Whereas if it had been a non-friendly UK time, I might have felt a bit more. Yeah, but it was only by 1 point, and we had games to get after break against teams that, on paper, you think we should have their number. But it's going to be depending on how well we do in terms of points. And in terms of performance in the game. Yeah, but yeah. I just felt, yeah, I mean, February was really concerning. Because obviously it was out of character, and of course that was also we had the spanking in Ottawa. Yeah, February was so out of character to only win one game and not produce the offense that his team was capable of. Now, of course, you could argue Nicole Hedges was still recovering from an injury, but so we were able to have this perfect tandem going back and forth. Yeah, but yeah, it was not good. It was very worrying, and March wasn't any better either. Yeah, we got 1 point in March, but. And I think special teams was perfect. Well, you always talk about special teams because of the ball, so I'll let you take it. Well, I think the special teams again. We saw some improvement. I think this needs to be better, particularly when it comes to the jailbreak goals. Well, scoring them or not conceding them, both. Because we were very bad at giving up jailbreak goals this year to Ottawa. Oh yeah, that second meeting in Ottawa, if that jailbreak goal happened, we would have won, or maybe got no. Well, I'm not saying necessarily would have won, but definitely we would have taken the game to overtime, or probably would have won it there. Because R was bad at overtime. The Charge are bad in overtime. Yeah, it was that game after the takeover tour stop in Raleigh. It was. Whoa! So literally, it was a couple days after the takeover tour stop in Raleigh. If they had not got that jailbreak goal, we could have taken it to overtime and then would have beaten them there. Because as we know, the Charge, as we just mentioned, will say, yeah? Charge are not good post-regulation. No. They're good at getting points, but not good at getting overtime or shootout wins. Nope. So if that game had gone past regulation, we got at least a point of it, then we might have qualified the players quicker and easier. Yeah. And we only scored 1 jailbreak goal. Yes, it was on the last day of the regular season. It was an empty netter at the Fonger Centre in Boston. That was the only time we got a jailbreak goal for the entire last season. Yeah. Power play was a bit better this year, wasn't it? Yeah, but at times I thought, Alexis as well. If Minnesota doesn't win this game, we can look back on reasons why. Look at the power play opportunities. Particularly we had a power play opportunity in Montreal in overtime one game, and we didn't come catching on it. We done that. That might have changed things as well. Okay, yeah. I think you two could bring a lot of opportunities in past games where if we just did this, we just did that. And that's great, this show can do that, but I'm always like, well, we can't do that too much, we've got to focus on it because these guys keep up with you big and bass. Particularly back in January, we had literally New York on the Wednesday, and then we were in Montreal on the Friday. We got to find you two were still talking about the New York game. Yeah, because that goal of return should have stood. And if that had stood, we would have won. Yeah, we would have won. Yeah, we would have absolutely won. Yeah, but I think this is something we need to work on for year 3. This is a trio thing. We can't dwell too much on previous games. Okay? We have to basically go, okay, that's where I went. We can dwell on it afterwards. We can do, but the time we can right. If we don't again the next day, we can dwell on it. But if we do, we can't. We got to focus on this next day. As soon as one game's for me, it's like as soon as one game's done, we've got to focus on the next one. We've got to just move quickly on. Because these games, sadly, come at us thick and fast. Because it's too short of a season. So that's when the chance getting to work up for year 3. Probably won't. If we come back this next year, it probably won't, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But honestly, we could sit here and you two could basically go, oh, we did this game, we got, but that's not what we're here. We're here to look on the season as a whole. And, as I say, it was a complete season of 2 halves. Oh, and the second half, the broadcasters love to keep reminders about it. Oh yeah, they love to keep minds about it. You know. It was like, yeah, we get it. Our first half was great. Second half, it's been inconsistent. Look at our. Yeah, they're also consistent. Do you want to talk about the Ottawa game regulation? Is this the whole about the backs against the wall? Yeah. Oh, should I do it? Right, go on. Yeah. So as mentioned, the Frost loves to play their backs against the wall. Now, as I was mentioned, in the last month of the season, we trialled upping up our coverage for next season. So the last week of next season, we pretty much watched every single game. So we had, which was on Monday? Was it Boston? Was it the Fleet at Victoria or Cyrus at Scepters on the Monday? When Pluto was asking about scenarios, it was Fleet at Victoria. Right. So for Monday's game, Fleet at Victoria. If the Fleet had got a win, they would have clinched their spot in the playoffs. And towards the tail end, Pluto was basically asking Letty, right, what are all the scenarios that could be on the table if Boston was to get 2 points at the least out of it. And I think, lady, you did very, very well. I think you did well. Did what you could. You did well. So I was a bit surprised when we get to Wednesday. We are at Ottawa in what was a crucial match. And we have Kenty show on the broadcast. And Kenty says, right, a regulation loss, the Frost are out. And I'm like, what? What? That's not what my good learned friend here said on Monday, Kenzie! And I was like, did I make a complete fool of myself for nothing? No, I thought you did well. All scenarios that you laid out, well, you did well, yeah. But clearly, it must have been something to do with the tiebreakers. Must have been. We only know one tiebreaker, that is regulation wins, so... Yeah, but no, yeah, this team, as I said, it loves to play with its backs against the wall. Now, if you do not support the Frost, that's great to watch. But if you are Frost supporters like we are, it's not great to watch because it can be really, really, really stressful. And there have been times over these past 2 seasons where us three literally thought we're going to have heart attacks. Oh, do you remember last season? Was it the game before we went to the World Championships last year? Yeah. Well, remember last season with the game before the World Championships, we got that winner of Montreal shootout, and me and Lenny were both sprawled on the sofa, literally like, ah! It's like, I'm gonna die! Yeah, you two went crap, and I was like, what the... Yeah, I mean, I think this was back when you were still pretty much seen as a roped-in member of the trio, Pluto. It's like... Because you were ill, but you weren't fully bullying yet. It was the sophomore season. Was this season gone when you got fully committed? Yeah. So going to year 3, we can now say that you are committed. We don't do the bro pin joke anymore. No. You are a referencing, that's right, but I'm yeah. Well, at least Warbur's had to be kind of like the come star for the first season, at least. So it was going to be with him, because obviously you were the last member of the pack to stake your paw. We didn't really stake his paw. It was pretty much after I said I'm going with Minnesota, you said great. I'm gonna bring in Pluto. Whereas the Eastern Lords over here, they can say, well, we made our stated our paws. We declared our hand. He didn't. Yeah, but I'm fully on board. We know you are. It's just what we're saying is it took you a little bit of time. Yeah. You had to bear that lob on the go, which you did. Yeah, which you did. So we can safely say he is absolutely committed, just like the rest of us are. Yeah. But as a whole, as a whole, I mean, it was an interesting season. Definitely, it's so frustrating because obviously again, this team looks like a team that could easily contend for the first place in the regular season. And spent the first half jostling with that between the Big 12. Yeah. They come out of the rugby series, have a terrible February, and it all just fell apart. And we luckily got in. If you look at the standings, we just managed to get in by the narrowest margins. Yep. Without those 2 last wins of the regular season, we wouldn't have got in. No. Wouldn't have got in? No. Now, it's going to be interesting going into next year, because for all we know, it could be just like this again. Now, I think this is the highest part of the whole report card, is to do your team. So I never normally do this, but we got at least a bit of guys. Yes, it's like it's so hard, but I think the Frost had another great season. I mean, of course, I'd say that we end up getting another World Cup in the bank, so of course, had a great season. But the road to getting there, just like it was last year, was not as easy as it looked. It wasn't as easy as it looked, boys and girls. But hey. We got there, we got another World Cup of the bang, and we're going to be raising another banner in late November, December. Yeah. Don't you dare! Don't you dare! He's already taking bets on that, so, yeah, but Smithsonian, what do I make of it? Far thoughts. Another crazy rollercoaster season just like last year was. Yeah, it's good. A bad throw, definitely a bad throw. But would we change? Would we missed it? No. Would we have changed any of it? No. No, probably not. That just pretty much sums it all up right there. Alright then, let's now move on to the Ottawa Charge. Charge finished third this year in the standings. And across their 30 days, they had a record of 12-2-4-12 for a total of 44 points. The point set is 0.489. Scored 71 goals, conceded 80. So, like the Sirens, conceded the most in the PWHL and scored the least in the PWHL. Now, let's just give them their flowers. The Ottawa Charge, of all the 6 teams, are the most improved from year 1 to year 2. Period. Slamming the desk! Period! There you go. Period. Calling it now. Period. But let's say more then. Night night. It's crazy though how improved, because obviously Ottawa were a complete mess last year. They were like a yo-yo. They're swinging them up, and swinging them down. Oh, those crying girls aloud! They're like a yo. Which of the girls was that? Nicola Roberts. She had one hit solo. That was it. Sheza was the one that was most popular of the girls to go solo. Okay. Right. Well, can we come back from Girls Aloud? Yeah. Go on. Okay, you started it. You gave me the song cue, so I'm sorry. You called, so you started it. I'm finishing it. They're just so consistent, and yeah, I kind of thought they were consistent again this year. Started off well, struggled in the middle half, then towards the end, powered through. Yeah. Didn't even go to the end half, because obviously, for the final portion of the regular season, they were without their starting net by Evans Mashmeyer. And I know what Charles fans are thinking. It's all your fault. Well, we can fire back by saying, yeah, but you've got Graham Phipps. Oh-ho! The shade! It really is now high school! The dissing is going around left, right, and centre. And in a minute, the teacher's going to go, language! Never works. It never works. Yeah. Yeah, because it was really, again against us, that Emma's Mashmeyer got injured and was out for much of the rest of the season. Are we certain she's going to be going to starting time for Vancouver? Oh, they say she can. I don't know. I think they'll start Kristen Campbell to begin the season and give it Emma's Mashmeyer more recovery time. Yeah. I think it probably would be another Nightly Spirit situation, comes back in the second half. And then turbocharge the team away to the playoffs. Yeah. But yeah, so the point I'm trying to make is, that end portion, they just went on a tear, and they pretty much found their gear, and they lit up the lead. What do you have any punches? I don't know, I'm just rolling with this. I've got to roll this. And they found a way. They found a way to get in. Which is the complete opposite to this time last year, when they had the opportunity on the last day to basically end our chances of getting in, and they failed. Yeah, but I know what the funny thing about it is that their last game this year and last year was in Toronto. Yeah. Yeah, so talk about exercising demons. Yeah. But the Charge were quite formidable, and you just did not. This is what scared me every single time we faced the Charge. You just didn't know what team you were going to get at the start of the game. You just didn't know. Nope. You just didn't know. And that's what made it so scary, because you just couldn't plan for that. No, you just could not plan for that at all. And, yeah, so which made it even tougher with going their bar. Yeah. Because I felt we had a better chance in our bar than we did in theirs. We only got, in the regular season, we only won one game in their bar, and it was the last game of that season series. We only won once in the World Cup finals. But you could say, Charge fans, you brought that on yourselves. You brought that on yourselves, but we're going to talk about that in Dreamland next year, so we can say for that. Yeah. But I just felt it was so interesting how they improved the most. I mean, I can't remember how many regulation wins they had last year, but this year it's definitely more than they had last year. Yeah, they got 12 regulation wins this year. They got 2 in overtime. They got 14 total. That is definitely more than they had this time last year. Yeah, it's definitely more. Yeah, it's definitely more than they had this time last year. Yeah, so that is an huge improvement. Yeah, you know, and I think of the 2 teams that didn't make the playoffs last year, would we say Ottawa's more likely to want to maybe compete for a playoff spot this year than New York? Yeah. Yeah, because obviously Ottawa missed out by narrowest of margins. All I need was one regulation win, and it would have been in. Yeah, because if that game got overtime, it would have been. No, they wouldn't have got anything had gone overtime. So yeah, So I felt Ottawa was the most improved. It kind of feels like they learnt the most lessons from last year. That's the way I see it. It's always like they learnt a lot from last year, and I think they really improved the most. So I think it's really impressive, but they're just still like inconsistent yo-yo. You have to quote the song again. No, it's fine. I only know I only know those 2 lines. That's all I know of it. It was a long time ago, boys, guys. It was about what, 20? I don't know. It was early 2010s. It was something like that. It was. I think it was before they reunited Children in Need. Anyway, Right, so the Charge definitely improved most. Impressive. Yeah. And I think that's something you can definitely take away going into the season. They definitely most improved. The question is, though, going to year 3, is can they maintain that? Yeah. Because obviously they had a taste of the World Cup. They got to the World Cup finals. Let's just put that in perspective. They got to the World Cup finals. They took down the Montreal Victoire, the league champions, who chose them, and did Ottawa fans not let them forget it. They pulled a Florida! And let's admit it, in the finals, they easily gave us a run for our money. They easily gave us a run for our money. How many times did I have to restart your heart, George? How many times? I don't know, I've lost count. But, honestly, I think that was more stress. The 2025 finals was more stressful than the 2024 finals. And yet the 2024 finals went the full 5. Yeah. But I just felt that was more stressful. Because I felt Ottawa was a more competitive team and threw more at us. Yeah, compared to what Boston did. Yeah. So I felt Ottawa gave it to us more than Boston did. Yeah. And I honestly wouldn't mind if it happened at Ottawa. I really wouldn't. Because like I say, I've got no problem with congratulating any team that wins the World Cup. I've got no problem doing that. Yeah. And well, let's not forget, where did win the Lacoste MVP award? Well, could it have gone to anyone else? No. Could it have gone? No. I mean, we could have made cases for, say, our players like Lee Steckline, Sophie Jakes, obviously our two netmeyers, Marina Hosny, but really, I think you had no choice. When it got to that matchup, you had no choice. It had to be Gwyneth Phillips. I think it would have been wrong if our players had been named the MVP over Gwyneth Phillips. When you're looking at the MVP World Cup, you're looking at it as a whole. You're not focusing on the two teams of You're looking at what they've done as a whole for the entire playoffs. Yeah. So that includes getting in to the finals in the first place, whether it's by 1 round or 2 rounds or 3, or the AHL case is 4 rounds. Yeah, but actually had to get it. And as we've already mentioned, well done Perth for going to actually accept the award, swallowing a prize. Yeah, we've already done the episode on that. I know, but I just like to remind the boys and girls. Well, in case it happens again this time next year. Yeah. Okay, fair dues. Fair dues. But you never know. No, you never know. It could happen again. It could happen again. Stop again. Stop again. Stop again. Yeah. Yeah, but alright, that's with a more improved team. They're still inconsistent. So you've got to feel for their fans coming to watch inconsistent team right now. But what's interesting now this year is their inconsistency. They turned it on and off at the right moments. And that helped them get into the finals. And I still think come maybe be that first seed to get back to the finals for 1 year after losing it the other, and where I can see that it could be them. It could be no. But definitely this season, definitely more improved than they were last year. And I think that's what you would see for your team no more, especially when you were in the first year. So yeah, so Ottawa, I think the charge could be very proud of what they achieved. They could be very, very proud. Alright, lady, hold fire. Hold fire. Is it time for Tio? It's time for Tio. Hold fire. Hold fire. I need to see the record. So the Scepters finished second in this year's season standings. Across their 30 games, they had a record of 12, 3, 6, 9 for a total of 48 points. A point percentage of 0.533. Scored 73 goals, conceded 73 goals. Right, lady, floor is yours! This team was nothing until they got Natalie Spinner back. Oh! Oh god! Oh my god! Spinner! Oh my god! Well, I'm sorry. Did anybody expect her to start that bad in the season? No. I mean, at one point, they were in the basement. At one point, they were the only team that was still in single figures in terms of points. Yeah, that's how bad it was for T.O. That's how bad it was. It's like, okay. Yes, that is still injured. But, let's go through their firepower, shall we, they had in year 2. Sarah Nurse. Emma Maltese. Renata Fass. Blair Turnbull. Darryl Watts, they acquired this year. Kristen Campbell. Reagan Kirk. Are you telling me that firepower can't handle not having Natalie Spear on the roster? I know. You trying to tell me that? Because until Natalie Spear came back from injury, this team just was a complete mess. It was nothing like the juggernaut that we saw last year, who had the biggest wins streak in PWHL history. And I'm not sure that's going to be matched or overtaken for quite some time. No. Not until we get his wish and go to 40 games, it won't. Oh, Wago's being quiet. I'm still in shock. It's not the first time I've done that to you, love, is it? Oh! No! Go to the bike shed! Go to the bike shed with that! Oh, you dirty bastards! Bike shed! Oh, you so wish you had a bike shed in your high school. You really do. You've been robbed us of life's joys. You really do. I can see how dancers with law! But no, can I finish? And I can let you boys pack your fucking fun. Yeah, so I just think... And of course, Nice Spear's not going to be on that roster forever. She's probably got them with Harry Knight, Rita Pencil, or in terms of people thinking, oh, well, they're getting on a bit. How much time do they've got left? Especially as Harry Knight, and now she's retiring from international play after Milan Cortina. Exactly. So like, But you know what I say to that lady? Come on. If women can play sports after having children, they can play into their 40s. Thank you very much. So there you go. But no, I just feel like I know what you mean though. When that time comes for that generation to pass the torch, can they do it knowing they've got there's a young core there who can pick up the slack? Because that's where I am with the AHL now. All of my core veterans on the Sharks, they've now gone. Wow, they've all gone. We are now left with the Sharks. We are now going to next season. We are now left with this young roster. And I'm worried that they have not got the mantle to be able to pick up where the veterans left off. But literally all our core veterans on the Sharks have now gone. So I get what they try to say, which comes through. Right now you've got this firepower, but when the time comes for them to pass the torch on, can you be trusted to know that they can pass the torch on to a reliable squad? I don't know. Yeah. That's the point I'm trying to make. If you can't handle Natalie Spear being injured, it takes her coming back to turbocharge your team into a playoff position. I think that's alarming. Yeah. I think that's alarming, especially with what they lost in the expansion process. So actually, I think that is really alarming. Yeah. So I just feel like with Toronto, what are you playing at? If you can't handle your star player getting injured, yeah, then what? Plus, didn't Sarah Nurse get injured in the Rugby Series? She did. Not all of it had an impact. Yeah. So it's just like, I don't want to say it, but I'm gonna say it. What? I kind of felt the Sexers didn't earn their place in the playoffs. Oh my god! Jesus Christ, what are you doing to me? Well, we earned it. Charge earned it. Victoire earned it. Sexers just rely on other teams to help them get them. Oh, go! Stop, go! Okay, me go! Yeah, I just think... Yeah, I mean, you go from having that incredible record you had last year, you compare it to this year, it's a complete contrast. I mean, that stunned me how... I mean, Boston, I'm not too surprised they had a tough start, because obviously they were World Cup finalists. But with Toronto? That really stunned me. I was so surprised by that. I'm still baffled now. So, yeah, I get Eddie's point. With all the firepower, I know we haven't mentioned all of it, it's too many to mention that on that roster. But, you've got enough depth on your team. Why are you not finding those results? Yeah. Because Toronto's not got a depth problem. They did not have a depth problem going to year 2, whereas Boston did. And yet, Toronto was languishing in the basement for a good first chunk of the year. I just think... I mean, he also did have some big transition from Masney and then to Coca-Cola Stadium. Yeah, but they had to try and run during the World Cup playoffs, so there should be no excuses there. But it's just like... I think answers are a postcard, but Toronto's falls in those first couple of games. Even on the takeover tour, they didn't look that impressive either. I mean, they only got, what was it, 1 win. And it was against Ottawa. But I think Ottawa was going for a bit of an inconsistency patch there. You don't think Toronto was impressed with the takeover tour? I don't think Toronto was impressed with the takeover tour. Did they have 2 stops? I think they did. Yeah. So... And obviously when we had to match them against the Parser game, and they won that first game, you thought, yep. You might be that Beyonce. Well, he liked it, he put a ring on it! Well, if we had a handheld mic for you, you could do a couple of bars right now. I think we're getting sidetracked. Wow. It's just... I feel like we're struggling with what we say about Toronto. Because it kind of felt like they could have built off what they had last year. But that first start, they had was just dreadful. Like, really dreadful. I don't know what I want to say. No, I honestly don't know what more to say. I really don't. I don't. Yeah, I mean, Leggy's pretty much hit all on the head, really. So, but yeah. But interesting, their scoring differential. An even split, 73-73. That I think is interesting. I would have thought Troy would have ended, especially how good they were on the special teams last year. I feel like, I don't think they should have had a bitty split so scoring wise. I think it should have been convincing. Yeah. It's a mystery, the Scepter's position this year. It's a complete mystery. But I think, well done, lady. This was the moment where she wanted to go full on. I had so much to say about it. I pretty much covered it all. I pretty much have literally covered it all, really. Well, then let's say no more. And finally, we finished with the league champions of 2024-25, the Montreal Victoire. The Victoire de Montreal. Across their 30 games, they had a record of 12, 7, 3, 8, for a total of 53 points, sorry. Wait, it looked like a 2 there for a minute, but 53 points. 53 points. So it's got 53 points throughout the season. Points station of 0.589. Scored 77 goals, conceded 67 goals, and that's the least in the PWHL this year. So, we scored more goals than Victoire. Yep. Wow. Who was to tackle Montreal's home ice? Okay, because I feel like that's the big thing that we focused on this season with Montreal. Yeah. The Victoire this year on home ice, they moved to Plasbout permanently, because last year they split, didn't they? They split between two venues, between Plasbout and the one I can't remember what the one was. So they moved to Plasbout permanently, which was the right move, given how big the PHL has become in Montreal. You needed Plasbout to be that permanent venue for them. The fact they're getting 10,000 a night is just brilliant. Even on that night when Montreal was hosting the Four Nations doubleheader, they still managed to get 10,000. So hats off to that. But yeah. But they were scary good on home ice this year. Not many teams found a way to beat Montreal on home ice. We did it. Well, we did it. Cyrus did it. Not sure many other teams did. I think Ottawa might have got at least one. But towards the end of the year, they did. Yeah. No. So that was one of the reasons why us two, we did not want to face the Victoire Pearls, because we knew that the Victoire would have house advantage, and they would use that for advantage, and it would just be like, well, what could we have done? Yeah, whereas I was more like, if we have to play the Victoire, it's fine, because the way I see the World Cup playoffs right now is, chances are, you're going to have to face somebody who you do not want to face. It's the way it works. It's the question is, how do you, as a fan, how do you deal with that? Now, I've been handling it quite well in the last 2 years, because in both playoffs, we faced teams we did not want to face. We did want to face Toronto last year, in the semi-finals. We did want to face the Victoire this year, but obviously this year we didn't have to do because they chose the charge. They went smart. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I think for me, the big reason why Montreal are league champions this year is Anne-Renee Desbian. Goaltender of the year. There was no way, I know you two want to go over this, there was no way she was losing that award. No way she losing that. So I was really impressed with what she achieved there this season. And she actually didn't do too bad in the World Championships, despite the fact to go in there injured. I know, right? That was crazy. It was no longer after Mashmire went down, wasn't it? I know, because Mashmire went down first, then Des went up, and me and me were like, oh my god, who's going to backstop T-Canada? Yeah. But still did it. Yeah, still did it. And Canada did give us a very good run for our money. Yeah. No. But I thought Desbian's in the regular season was absolutely impressive. I mean, towards the end of the season, she just dominated the netmind categories. Seriously. Yeah. So when I did the points leader section on Purple Rain this year, towards the end of the season, a lot of it, when it got to the netmind stats, it was just Desbian leading all the categories available that I could run through. And I was like, am I surprised? No. Well, am I surprised? No. So I think she was a big factor. And then big fans might say, well, it was also Blair, it was also Stacey, it was also Jen Gardner, it was Erin Ambrose, it was also Abby Barine, who the hockey community did not let go about the fact that we did not draft her. We're back-to-back World Cup champions. Move on! I know, right? The amount of grief that we've got from social media this year about how, oh, well, I bet the Frost regret not taking Abby in the draft. And I'm like, I don't care! I'm the defending World Cup champion. I don't care! I don't care. We made the move in the draft that was going to be beneficial to us. Montreal made the move in the draft that was beneficial to them. Okay? So, yes, we would have liked Abby to still be on our team. Yes, but at the end of the day, I'm defending World Cup champion. I don't care! I don't care! So stop trying to get a rise out of me. It's not going to work. I don't care! And I was happy that she got in the PWHL full time. Because she proved that last year, which was a reserve for us. She proved she deserved a contract. So, but she got a contract. Brilliant. Plus, at the end of the day, who's the loser now? Because guess what? Abby got taken by Vancouver? Yes, by Vancouver. It's final draft. So who's the loser now? Ain't me. Ain't us. Nah. So there you go. Obviously, no way could the Big 12 protected her. Well, there you go. I know. We called the Big 12 protection a mile away. Yeah, but I just thought Desbian is the big reason why the Big 12 were able to be league champions this year. That's how I feel. You can try and argue it's all players to just mention, but for me, it's Anna Desbian. She is the reason the Big 12 on ice got this team league championship. Our five, Courtney Shepherd. I know, how brilliant was she? Absolutely had to get Coach of the Year. When those nominees came out, I was like, it has got to be Corey. It cannot be. Sorry. No offense to Carl McLeod or Troy Ryan. No, in fact, what the fuck was Troy Ryan doing on this again? That's bad. Yeah, what? No, I just felt it had to be Corey Shepherd. I would have been scratching my head there if it would have been tugging it. If it had not been Corey Shepherd who got Coach of the Year. That was her award to lose. Like how in Goal of the Year, it was Anna Desbien's to lose. She did so well. She did so well. I'm not sure if many people are giving Corey Shepherd her flowers this year for what she's done to get the big spot into that position where they were league champions and had the right to choose her. And as she said, George, they actually did pick smart. Yeah. They actually did pick smart by going Ottawa. Because they could have gone for the easy option and take us on, but knowing how we are defending World Cup champions, knowing how that match has been tough, maybe worry about that if you get into the finals. Yeah. Rather than in the semi-finals. Yeah. But little did they know what Ottawa was going to bring. Yeah. Well, they had 2 matches beforehand, and they lost those in the regular season. Yeah. Yeah. But I think they thought with Ottawa they could do better against than they did against us. So. Yeah, but they also won our series the same by the same number of games. Yeah, but I think they're more dominant over Ottawa than they was against us. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. But yeah, but I just feel like the thing is though, if you were to ask us before the start of the season which team do you think could dethrone us, it would have been Montreal. It kind of looked like that when we got into the end of February. It kind of looked like that. Montreal was on course to make a complete run for it. Yeah. But again, the playoff woes, again. Well, the offense let them down again. And even Reese herself has said, we've got to look in the mirror. We've got to take a big look in the mirror at ourselves and just go, yeah. Because this team, it could have to what comes to the bank by now, but it just hasn't. It's just not got there. No. And yeah, I mean, I agree. They are a team that should have to what comes to the bank. Well, they weren't as impacted as the rest of the Inaugural Six were in the expansion draft. Yes, they did lose Caleb Barnes, And yes, they also did lose Abby Barine. But Montreal's losses were, in my opinion, weren't as impactful as the rest of the Inaugural Six. So could that actually put Montreal in a good position going into year 3 to maybe take on the likes of Vancouver and Seattle? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. I think so. I actually think so. Yeah. They definitely could give Vancouver Seattle a run for the money if that's where the projection has to go. But we know that. But in terms of this season, the Big 12, they pretty much did everything right in the regular season. Okay, they had a few hit bumps every now and then. Speed bumps, yeah, but of course every team goes through that. Yeah. And they handled it quite well. Yeah. It's just when it got to the playoffs, is that you say, yeah, it's just when it got to the playoffs, that's where it kind of all fell apart at the end of the day. And just yeah, you have to wonder, what's it going to take the Big 12 to win a playoff series? Because they've got the tools, just not playing. No. But could you imagine if that series had gone to 5? It would have the game 5 would have happened on our flight back from Philly. Oh yeah. So in a way, there was still a lining there. Yeah, silver lining. Yeah. Yeah. But impressive season of the Big 12. A really impressive season of the Big 12. Okay, yeah, it's any disappointment because we didn't win the playoffs. But I wouldn't be surprised if they win it again, the league again. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this time this year the league champions again. Wouldn't be surprised. And maybe they can now learn from the last 2 playoff series against Ottawa and Boston, and we get on the line. Yeah. Because a Canadian team is due the World Cup soon. I want to show you it is possible to get into the finals. Yeah. So, maybe it's going to be the Big 12. I mean, we've been saying it could be the Charge, but maybe will the Big 12 be the first Canadian World Cup champion? We don't know. We just don't know. It's not going to be the Sectors. Oh, lady! Oh, wow. You have to go there. You had to go there. You had to go there. No, I think the Big 12 had a really impressive season this year, and I will be proud of what they've done. Like, you're league champions. You are league champions. Take that in your stride and be proud of it, because it is something to be proud of, even though you didn't get the prize you wanted to get. So there you have it. Our first yearbook show is in the books. I quite like that. Right, it's more of a report card. Did I say yearbook? Oh! It's because the yearbook is coming. Oh, of course, yes! What, we're doing it again? Yeah, we're doing it again. The yearbook show is coming back again. You may not like it. I need to start. I can now start. Now we've got this done, I can now start working on that. We can get a report card. Yearbook, done. So we don't have yearbooks here in England. We don't do yearbooks. We get report cards. But the kind of sort of similar in a way, really, aren't they? In a way, yeah, maybe. We don't have yearbooks in the UK. We do get to do prom. We don't get to do yearbooks. So no, it's a slip of the tongue. So our first report card show, Don. I loved it. It was your idea. I know it's my idea, and I think it's gone really, really well. I've loved it. I've loved it. We'll see how it goes next year. We'll see how it goes. This might be Ethan. What do you think of it? Yeah, it's nice fun. Nice little fun to do. I think we could do it. So that is officially it. That is a wrap on Purple Rain Season 2. That is officially a wrap on Season 2. We do, however, though, have some more burst episodes to come between now and the start of the Season 3. So between now and November, December, any episode on Purple Rain will be a burst episode. Yeah, this is to kind of, wrap up Season 2 as a whole. We do, because I think Purple Rain is literally non-stop. Literally, we pretty much make episodes all year round, really. But obviously, some are burst episodes and some are regular season episodes. This is the last regular season episode for Season 2. We'll be back in November or December, depending on the schedules, for Season 3. That'll be, But this has been a wrap on season 2. It's been an incredible season. We have loved it. Thank you, for the ride. And we will see you in the next one. Goodbye. Bye-bye.